Speaking of the terrible effects of listening to things through speakers as opposed to earbuds, I had, on account of the whole my bank does not accept my validation app anymore because I am not using one of the normal operating systems, which should be illegal, but somehow this is fine. So I had to literally get a new phone so I could access my bank account again. Despite my phone working perfectly fine.
Hey, are you looking at all towards the Yola phone that's coming out pretty soon?
No, not really. Should I?
It's a Linux native phone that actually works.
Well, in that case, this might have the same issue as my graphene phone did with my bank's validation app.
Gotcha.
Probably no.
That should be illegal.
Like, I have a good, secure phone that runs on graphene, and I use it for work, and it's great, but I can't use it to, like, validate transactions anymore. So I had to get a new phone for basically just validating my bank account. I could have just found the cheapest option, but I'm also not super satisfied with the camera on my phone, so I bought a new phone for just have good camera and run a normal operating system, which is mostly fine.
Normal meaning evil. Don't.
Yes.
You gotta specify.
Yeah.
Always.
That's
specify.
always what I mean by normal.
That should have been on the podcast. All right. I'm hitting record.
I'm recording.
So I think we're gonna come in on Oro saying that about normalcy. I think that's the best place to be.
Yeah.
Sure. I love living in hell where we would be forced to refer to evil as normal on a daily basis. Why else would I have chosen to live here?
Yeah.
We don't even get the cool parts of living in a dystopia. Like, this is the central argument behind the subreddit A Boring Dystopia. We don't get the cool parts of a dystopia, like, neon lights implanted in your arms or something.
Yeah. No one has a hoverboard, a real hoverboard.
No one has a real hoverboard. What if I want my pecs to have RGB?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
I mean, you can get that. That's body mod for that.
Yeah, kinda.
You're just not gonna
not...
get a job if you do, which is perfectly copacetic with normal dystopia.
Yeah.
Something banality of evil.
Banality of evil is right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we've taken a couple of months off here for a variety of reasons. Some having to do with conventions, some having to do with holidays, some having to do with being out of the country for a month.
You're free to guess which of these belongs to whom, and we might.
Yep.
You might win a cracker if you get it right. They'll ship you one of us.
You might even eat the cracker.
Maybe like, yeah. That way we're like closer to even from the mic. We're at like a 2 to 3 ratio in terms of mic distance, which is to say, I'm this far from the mic.
Oh my god, I've done this in years, and I'm this far from the mic.
And together we are
these fars from the mic.
You love
Let's fucking go.
All right. For people who don't know who we are and are somehow starting episode 3 of a series, I'm Tarbuck Transom, the omnidisciplinary in Craftwright, and general smooth-talking cool person.
I'm Oro, a general web specter, writer, occasional artist, and a xenographer in recent months.
Ooh.
Is that a word? I'll use it as though it were, as is my nature.
Alright, what does that mean? What is that?
A person
I don't
who
know.
contributes to zines.
Oh, that's so obvious, actually. Never mind.
Yeah, the way of... No, I'm not going to use that example.
And I am urcoy, your favorite audio bug, back again.
Oh, I'm not a vampire. I'm not a vampire, and I haven't done anything interesting lately, so...
Retired YouTuber, not a vampire.
I'm not a vampire, raising a lot of questions that should already be answered by my name.
Yeah, exactly. No one ever seems to listen to me. They're always like, not a vampire? I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm. I've watched this interaction happen a number of times.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so thousands of years ago when the world was young, we all got together to talk about personality typing systems, specifically in the subdomain of Homestuck, which, as you might know from Homestuck, is actually a superdomain. It is the domain of all things. And from that, we had Classpecting.
Yes.
Broken down into class and aspect. But maybe you skipped those and came directly to this episode about moons or something.
Yes. Lunar Sway.
Lunar Sway. I did all the reading for this last year, so we're going to you two who know it very well will hopefully present it, and then we two who do not know it very well will try to ask interesting questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, dear hypothetical audience member who has made that decision, it's a reasonable choice. You looked at the first one, was like 12, that's way too large a number. And looked at the second one, it was like 12 again, what the fuck is wrong with you? And now we will present you the humble and much more manageable 2.
Mm-hmm.
2. Yes, it's the yin-yang of Classpecting. It's very simple, and the simplicity is kind of the problem, at least for us. Narrowing down what exactly it's measuring is tricky, and nobody agrees.
Nobody agrees on what the moons correspond to.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. And yet I've seen this fancy document.
Well,
Yeah.
The fancy document just lists all the ones that are vaguely coherent. Sometimes, especially with this one, but with not just the Homestuck personality matrices, but any personality matrix, people love to just say things. They love to vibe type. They love to just say, women love shrimps and men like waffles. And
Women love
pretend
shrimps,
that you should
true.
infer something from this.
That sounds like something you'd find on like a BuzzFeed, like 50 things you didn't know that only men or women like.
Mm-hmm.
Right, yeah. I'm trying to quote one of those that was viral on Tumblr a while ago, but I don't actually remember what the specific 2 things was. I think the women one was a seafood, but I don't recall which one.
That's hilarious.
Yes. That's basically the issue here, and so I gave brief overviews of the 3 main branches of thinking about this, which aren't mutually exclusive. You can have... Should we just go over them first?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So you can be either yellow or purple.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I got for you.
I call purple.
Actually, you know what? You know what's fun? Shaking up the format. Vibe type us. What do you think we are first? And then later we get to find out what that means.
We'll be educated.
Do we tell you now, or just hold on?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Let me think.
Well, I feel like Vamps does. I feel like Tarbuck is pretty prospecty with some bits of does.
Mm-hmm.
I would agree with that.
Okay. Now you got to tell us what any of that means.
Cool. So, one of them is Des in the webcomic of Homestuck leads the war against Prospect. Des is the rebellious, the active one, and Prospect is defensive and passive in this way, which is a weird read based on activity and passivity already being a thing in the other axes we have discussed.
Yeah.
So doesn't feel true, and also just doesn't really match onto the characters that great. Another is, a lot of the Des ones are pretty fucking neurotic and on edge and over-analytical, whereas the Prospect ones tend to be more happy-go-lucky, though also not always. Happy-go-lucky, not necessarily in a actually happy way, but a certain assuredness, a sturdiness to them, a mental calm. And then the one I like best is Des tends to be pretty internal. It's very self-analytical and pretty good map of who they are, of their own environments, why they do things. Pretty bad map of the world. Tend to be I don't get other people kind of person. Whereas Prospect is kind of the opposite, which can lead to these assured, happy-go-lucky, etc. impulses by having a pretty good understanding of the outside, setting their focus outside themselves, understanding the world, and tend to be quite oblivious to their own mental workings and who they are, which is sometimes flanderized, though it's not fully wrong, as in, oh, this is the introvert one and this is the extrovert one. Which again, there's overlap, but it's also not quite it.
Yeah. I have something similar to that, which is sort of like this framing of like what the baseline assumption of a Durst or a Prospect is with regards to like the way people interact with each other. Where like Durst is kind of like the assumption is everyone is an island and responsible for their own island first.
Yeah.
And then you make like negotiations later. Whereas Prospect is more of a everyone is part of a network by default.
Yeah.
It's sort of this spread, maybe not responsibility, but sort of a open like field that like
like
we're all
a society or tribe, etc. first.
Yeah, we're all
an individual first.
Yeah.
Community focus.
Yeah, so it like everything lands on everyone is sort of the Prospect thing.
Which also repercusses into the same kind of thing. Like if you're more socially minded, you'll have a pretty good understanding of society, your place in it, the things that people need. If you're like mostly focused on yourself, you're gonna trust mainly yourself. You're the thing you have a good map of.
Mm-hmm.
And you expect everyone else to behave similarly.
I find this like community or like connection versus isolation duality really compelling.
That's good.
And this is one of the more useful things that Durst and Prospect might mean in my mind.
Yeah, because like the other mappings, like in the comic itself, like the first batch of characters are more obvious in like surface level type traits.
Yeah, right.
And from there, it's kind of like less obvious. Like the next batch is like more of a functional thing, kind of. I'm trying not to spoil stuff, but I don't know how much that matters. But yeah, it's just it runs into this thing where it's like it's not always obvious if you're using stuff like, oh yeah, these are the happy ones and these are the distrustful ones type thing.
We didn't mention, though you might have, if you were attentive, inferred the colors yourself. Durst is the purple one and Prospect is the yellow one. Who would have thought that the broody individualist dark one is purple and the other one is yellow?
Yeah. Grape soda and Inca Cola.
What?
I don't assume anyone else has had Inca Cola.
What's Inca Cola?
It's in Peru. It's a thing they have in Peru.
Yeah.
It's quite nice.
Gotcha.
Oh, that would make sense. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Inca, like the Inca.
Not ink. That's also what I thought. Yeah.
I thought it was like the Inca, like Peru, the Inca, but I thought no, that's impossible. That got to be saying something else, right?
Nope.
All right, so we got. In brief, let's list our dualities, because really what we should be trying to do is a series of like binary questions where you choose one and the other, and then at the end it presents you with a mosaic of like yellows and purples according to the answers that you gave, and then you just kind of vibe check that against what you think you are.
Mm-hmm.
That's the ideal way to test something like this, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
do we want to go one by one and each of us answer to each duality, or do we go person by person?
Oh, the thing that is intuitive to me is to do it by duality, and then we each answer.
Yeah. Cool.
And then we tally at the end.
I agree.
Okay.
I also think that's the best one, because that way we have like a shared space to talk about each duality.
Right.
Okay, so I assume you mean the one from the image?
Yeah, but also all the ones that you've been saying just now.
Sure. Yes. Okay, so rigid and accommodating, or like flexible, I guess.
Okay.
Well, flexible like that.
I'm definitely on the accommodating side here.
What does this mean exactly?
Because
my initial instinct was rigid for Tarbuck.
Yeah, like
But rigid about what?
Okay, that's a good point, because I am very moralistic and like like I'm pretty hardcore on those things. When I think rigid versus accommodating, I think in terms of like dealing with other people and their needs and impositions, the ways that another person might inconvenience you. Like
even in that sense, like I would put you a little more rigid than accommodating. Like I interpret myself as being way more accommodating.
Oh yeah, you were way more accommodating than I
Yeah.
am.
Well, because I guess like being more on the rigid side, it's like you're accommodating people once they're in your framing first. if that makes sense.
I think that does. Like, you have to get through, you gotta get over the barrier first.
Right. I've had plenty of conversations with Tarbuck where he was like, well, I would just not talk to that sort of person.
Yeah. You have expressed in the past that for people who, like, you've determined are worth having in your life, you will, like, move mountains for, but if they've shown not to be worth it, you're not going to fuck with that.
Right. That makes this a tough one.
I agree. I'm also troubled by it. I look at this as oh no, you see, Doctor, I have a system.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I perceive my mental environment as super, super rigid. I'm a terribly judgmental person, and I'm very particular about the ways I go about things. No, none of you would have seen Would I Lie to You. Would I Lie to You is a British panel show, and in it, comedian David Mitchell has one very fun thing where he is like, he has a system for lending his pens to people and getting them back. He says, well, my natural impulse when someone asks me for a pen is to scream, no way, I will kill you, I will never give this to you, I will keep it. But I try to fit into polite society, so instead I build these like various social machinations in order to make sure I will get it back eventually and appear normal. And that very much is the way I perceive myself. I'm like, oh yeah, no, I've put a lot of effort points into being genial and accommodating and able to deal with people, but in the worlds I build for myself, in the environments I make for myself to be productive, it's super fucking regimented.
Yeah, you're rigid, but with the air of accommodating.
Yeah.
Yeah, the accommodation is built on top of it after the fact.
Yeah.
I think of myself as an accommodating person because I grew up in a very bigoted environment.
Yeah.
And so from my baseline, I'm willing to extend way more to other people than was normal. It just so happens that also one of the checks in this is, do I think you're a person or not?
Yeah, and like this brings it once again back to what's the measure of rigid versus accommodating, because I think by that measure, like what you grew up with as a child, like I'm sure we're all technically accommodating then.
Yeah, and I mean, I agree with you that this is the correct side to have chosen, but I expect most people to be much more accommodating of various types of bigotry than you are.
Yeah.
It's like there's a puzzle piece shape in people's brains for how they want you to be rigid and how they want you to be accommodating.
Yeah.
And I have the exact opposite.
Right, yeah, because like a bunch of really fucking racist or otherwise bigoted people will have like their black friend or whatever the fuck, or like any standard, because they truly do not give a fuck about any individual person. It's like a big cultural narrative they care about. So I don't even think they're actually as non-accommodating as you think. Like the issue is somewhere else. They probably think they're much more rigid than they actually are, because usually you can expose them to a type of person and they're going to be fine.
Right. For a normal person, if you say, hey, can you not use that word? Like just some innocuous word to others, like respect. This is one of mine, actually. Can you just not say respect? It lacks index.
Yeah.
And to my mind, an accommodating person will say, sure, and then just like make that one adjustment because it doesn't mean anything, and then move. Yeah. The conversation is able to move along.
Well, I mean,
and a rigid person,
I'd probably want to know why. I would still do it if the person says no, but I'd be curious whenever someone asks me that.
And the person that I think of as rigid would say, no, we're going to keep using my words because I hate you.
Well, I think of it more like, no, I'm going to keep using this word because it's not on the list of acceptable no words.
Yeah.
Right. It's not it's not one of the slurs that I care about, so I'm gonna keep using it.
Yeah.
I seriously had to suppress the urge to say slurs right here to give examples.
Oh my God.
Like an example from me from real life. No, don't do that.
See, and this is why you don't let
God.
people play video games.
The real scourge.
I think an interesting like way to look at this might be like, which one of these has historically gotten you in trouble?
Ooh, I see.
Because I'm thinking like, yeah, like for me, it's like my problem was being like too accommodating in instances where like that's not good. Like you need to be rigid with certain people or with certain things.
Okay, so not necessarily in trouble like socially, but like put you in a bad situation of sorts, so, like kind of your own creation.
Yeah,
Honestly, in that case, same. I like fucked up much more by being like, well, you're gonna know how to do it. Go ahead. I will accept this.
Yeah, I think putting it on that footing, then I'm accommodating.
Yeah, being accommodating has all but ruined your life.
The all but is doing a lot of heavy lifting.
I don't think so.
I mean, I'm not living in Illinois right now.
Because you were accommodating to my wishes that we move.
Well, when you put it that way.
When you put it that way, it sounds like I'm a pushover. Yeah, that's what I'm saying about you.
I'm trying to work on it. It doesn't like how do you say it's not in a measurable way yet, but I am trying. Well, it's not
it's a subliminal change, but
it's not in a way that has like it's clever in my head. I can I know the shape of what I'm trying to say. It's not there's no outward measurable changes yet, but I can
Awareness is half the battle, as we say.
Yes. Okay. Shoot. That is where I'm at. Okay. Never mind.
Knowledge is half the battle is where you're at.
Yes. And that is definitely half the battle. It sounds dismissive, but it really is.
The other half of the battle, of course, being violence.
Yeah, become aware of my opponents and then destroy them.
Well, yeah.
Knowledge
Now you
leads
have
to
to
strategy leads to violence.
Now you have to enforce your will to change your path and stop being accommodating to others, which people will perceive as violence to them.
Yeah. You might even perceive it as violence to yourself. Which, change is fucking hard.
Yeah, go and ship a Theseus yourself.
Well, do. Certainly do.
VC8. Okay.
Yeah.
1 point is missing on the next one. What was meant to go here versus black and white?
No, these are not ordered.
Yeah,
I'm
I know.
looking at this myself right now. I'm like, why the fuck did I do it like this? Yeah, no, they're more clustered into like conceptual things. So rigid and black and white feel to me like two ways of expressing the same thing, and that's juxtaposed to accommodating and flexible on the other side, which are also not paired. So I would move on to on edge versus assured, which is all the way down the list. Like the second one on the prospect side is certainly supposed to go against the last one on the death side. I have no idea why. Oh no, I know why they're not ordered. They're not ordered because it would have gone over the gradient. That's like splitting it.
No, it wouldn't fit there.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
We figured it out.
On edge versus assured. Yep, definitely not on edge.
Yep. Very much on edge.
Yep.
This one is like...
Wait a minute, hang on. For the accommodating versus rigid, did you two list your own?
Who?
Urcoy and Oro.
I first was trying to make the argument of I feel like I am a rigid person slapping on a lot of accommodating behavior, and since I only care about outcomes, I still probably would think, well, this is a personality matrix, so this probably would make me rigid, but if we do your thing of going by what has caused us more trouble, then definitely being overly accommodating.
Right. Yeah, I think either way, I'm definitely on the accommodating side.
That matches my perception of you, both of you. I think you both reported yourselves correctly.
Self-reported.
Yeah. I just wanted to say it explicitly because I know that some listeners are going to get lost on that kind of thing.
Right. Yeah. Sometimes
Aren't I so accommodating?
Yeah.
You're really stretching for that.
I joke, but that's my example.
Oh, I know.
Sure, no,
I know.
I agree.
You are literally accommodating. That is the thing you go out of your way to do.
Mm-hmm.
Audience, tell us whether you were able to follow. We're smart enough to piece all that together.
Yes, out yourself right now.
Yeah, you need to be both smart enough to follow that and also dumb enough to leave a comment.
Yeah, you know, you're right. A good audience is should not be seen or heard.
Oh, no. Do not be perceived, except by the number, like the watch number you leave.
Yeah. I don't really... Okay. Honestly, I really don't think about how there might be an audience to this show. I'm just doing a show.
Sure, yeah.
I've never looked at the comments on any of these episodes, even once.
So far, it's only people we know.
Only people we know personally. Okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
That's about what I would have expected, actually.
Yeah. Leave a comment if we don't know you.
Yeah.
Please, I want to hear from you.
If you don't have me on Discord or Element, leave a comment.
I technically know that there will be an audience, but I'm more terrified of how everyone else in the call is going to react to me than what a commenter might think, because they're not real right now.
Well, they're never
Right.
real, even when they leave comments.
Some people are real.
The people in the call are vetted to be cool, and people's opinions I should respect.
Certified.
Whereas the audience, anyone could stumble upon a humble YouTube video
Yeah.
and decide to have opinions about it like a jackass.
Leave a comment if you're a jackass.
Okay, but actually, if you do listen to the show, I do want you to comment.
No, this is absolutely an excuse to talk to friends across the Atlantic.
It's a good time.
Okay, assured versus on edge. On edge like nervous, or on edge like seeing threats lots of places? Because I'm very assured, but also there's threats everywhere.
Yeah, no, threats are everywhere. I would lump... That's why I'm splitting on edge and distrustful, which I think a lot of people would conflate.
Yeah.
And doing them separately. Now, I'm interpreting on edge, or I wrote it here, with the implication of anxiety, i.e. the thing you do not feel famously.
Right.
Yeah.
The
vague sense that something is going to go wrong at any second.
One of my signature features, one of my superpowers, is immune to anxiety.
Yeah, this one, I feel like I'm on edge sort of by default, but there are specific environments, both literal and situational, where I can like feel the change into assuredness. And I also feel it change over time the more I gain confidence in certain areas.
Yeah.
It's a tricky one. This one feels more movable to me.
Is it like, should the measure be like when you're encountering new situations, which one you tend to lean into?
I'm going to save you time. You're on edge.
I already know. This isn't for me. This is for everyone else in the call, except for you, because you know too.
I was just busting on you.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I do feel like I'm default on edge in newer situations.
Probably say, do you find yourself being surprised to be like, I'm not nervous about this? Or do you find yourself being surprised about, I'm nervous about this?
If I was nervous about something, I would be very surprised.
Yeah.
It's always when stuff is not in front of me that I'm nervous about it.
Yeah. Right, like that's the funny thing, specifically with there are threats everywhere. Oftentimes when I'm with friends workshopping how to defend against various threats or such, like actively thinking about the terrible forces in the world trying to do you harm and kill you. Like, oh, yeah, no, my body feels calm. I'm not anxious. I'm not anything. I am a machine trying to optimize for positive futures and not to get killed. This is easy. Most moments aren't like this.
Yeah.
Okay. I think of the on-edge person as feeling like their position at any moment is unstable.
Yeah. Oh, I had a fun thing at the startup I was visiting in England. Here's your resolution to the intro bit from earlier, dear audience. Where at some point in the office kitchen, baked bread for people. I was asked why. I was like, oh, yeah, whenever I don't feel yet that I've demonstrated my usefulness to like a social group, I fear that they're gonna kill and eat me. And that actually makes it harder to do anything productive. So now I feel like I've done a good thing for you guys, and you probably want me around because I made you bread. And now everything's basically fine.
Now you've justified your existence.
And they were like, well, if it helps you, I don't know anyone who's ever been killed and eaten. And I was like, wow, your friends must be so useful to the various social groups there.
You know, not the panic part, but that is relatable.
Yeah. No, it's...
As I am fond of saying often, as per the Enneagram episode, being loved is impossible. You may only be found useful.
I disagree with that one, but I do think this is a good eusocial impulse. I don't look at me having this and I'm like, wow, this is bad and dysfunctional. Like, that's the kind of thing that makes you, like, a good person. Like, any social animal should have that impulse where, like, wait, am I being useful to the tribe? And if they feel like they're not doing that, then compensate for it. Do something. You don't want the tribe to have to be tracking that for you. You want to be able to internally go, oh, I should fucking do my piece.
Yeah, but like anything, like in moderation, because like I very easily get into the realm of like, there's nothing I can ever do that will be enough, and so I have to do everything.
Right. Most of the time, you just need like a passing grade, and that's like all anyone will like care about or notice.
Yeah, good enough is good enough.
Yeah.
Something that we were saying earlier today is like, you know, little changes or like little things, like no one's gonna say anything about it, and yet you still like go over it again and again in your head. Like no one's gonna notice that, oh, I missed this one little bit of work even though I got everything else done. But you're gonna like think about that for the rest of the day, like, and this is why I'm a bad person, this is why no one loves me.
Yeah. Well, in fact, that's very rarely why you're a bad person. Usually you're a bad person for convoluted social factors.
like bigotry, for instance.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, if you're a bad person, it's really easy to tell.
I wouldn't go that far.
It's really easy to tell, but not necessarily for you to be able to tell.
Yeah, right, which is the bit that I care about. That's why I'm saying, like, oh, this is actually a good eusocial impulse to have. You like, should be keeping a close track on how good of a person you are. And if you're failing that, you like should be in a position to notice. And this being hard is kind of troubling.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So here's a new thing for you to be anxious about, dear audience member.
Do we think we have that one squared away?
Yeah, I think so.
I feel like we do.
Okay.
So, rebellious versus going with the flow.
How easily led are you?
Very.
Yeah, this one is mostly summarizing positions that other people have about this system and less me making my thing, because I don't think this dichotomy is real.
Oh, okay.
Like, no one just... Okay, no. There are people who just are rebellious, and there are people who just go with ever the fuck, but both of those are maladaptive patterns, right?
Yeah.
Those aren't meaningfully character traits. They're you either being a pushover or, like, really traumatized into, like, a gut anti-reaction to things. You should be going along with good things and rebelling against bad things.
Yeah, okay, so in that case, how often do you rebel against good things, and how often do you go with bad things?
Oh, that's very hard.
I think I'm more likely to rebel against good things than I am to go along with bad things.
Yeah.
I mean, I would stop if I became aware of it, but I have certainly found myself going along with bad things much more often, and then once I realized, stopped. So I'm sure I'm still going along with a fucking ton of bad things.
You know, you make a compelling argument. I think I'm switching.
Yeah. I mean, this is just reminding me of, like, the first dichotomy. Like, which one of these is getting you in trouble? Like, I certainly haven't gotten in trouble for being rebellious that much. Like, here and there, maybe, but it's much more the other way.
Being rebellious has definitely caused problems in my life much more, but that's because we live in an authoritarian nightmare world.
Right.
Yeah.
I guess there's also a lot of going along with things that can cause problems, even if the thing that you're going along with is someone else's rebellion, but it's ill-advised. You know, things like doing bad vandalism.
Right. Yeah, that's the other reason why I don't think this dichotomy is real is because one tribe's rebellion is the other tribe's conformity.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Like if you're really into punk music and you hang out with a bunch of street punks all the time, then you rebelling is actually you being hella conformative to the people who are actually in your life and who would meaningfully judge your actions.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is such a bad dichotomy, in fact, that I'm just removing it from the list.
Coolio. So none of us will give a take and we'll just move on.
I like that, actually, yeah.
I mean, I gave mixed messages, which is balances out to the same. All right, what's next?
Tallies is rebelling against the structure of the episode.
Okay.
And all of us
so
are going
mark that
along
down.
with it.
Oh god.
You get to keep your own scorecard at home if you want. I could stop you, but I don't want to.
Because you're accommodating.
Yeah, that's how I'm being accommodating.
Aloof doesn't actually have a good counter here, but like aloof versus embedded, I guess would be the way of putting it.
Okay. Expand on
so
that.
like you're always around or never around?
Kind of, or
Oh.
like at least
What do you mean?
seeming like disconnected from things. Like you're there technically, but you're like not really in the group.
Right. Oh, I'm mostly thinking about this about like as emotional involvement with a thing. Like let's say you're discussing some topic, you're either like really aloof, being able to be super analytical, jumping around as you please, or super embedded, being in the fucking no, here's take, etc. In the deeply felt connected to the thing.
So like attached versus detached.
Yeah, attached versus detached, sure.
Okay. In this attached versus detached, we're talking about subjects, or are we talking about people?
I think we can do this about both, but as I was writing this, I certainly would have thought about subjects.
Okay. Because intense opinions, weakly held, is like my deal.
Yeah.
I also have a lot of intense opinions that are strongly held. But,
Sure, yeah.
you know, that's because I'm rigid, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. If you want to find out which ones are which, you can just argue and see which one's violence is going to be done to you about.
Just make some strong claim at me that I disagree with, and then you will know based on whether or not I kill you.
Yeah.
When I kill you, that was one of the strong ones.
Yeah, it's fairly easy.
Oh, that was good to it.
Mm,
I don't quite know what this one is about.
yeah.
I'm not sure I'm understanding it.
I get it in the abstract, but I can't apply it.
I can give an example, but this is me interpreting other people's dichotomy through the lens I see the world through. So if this is just a pet issue of mine that other people either don't think about that much or don't ontologize that much, that's fine. But here would be my take on what I would have meant as I wrote the word aloof. There is a bunch of fucking discussion or like quote unquote debate that is had. But, like, particularly I would care about politics, but about anything really, where if you actually have a deep emotional investment, if you are part of the group of people affected by the thing, or have an otherwise deep connection to it, you are basically discredited for being too emotional about the thing. Whereas people who have a loose attachment to it, who are able to be very above it all, analytical, etc., are being given the platform despite usually being less informed on account of not being as enmeshed by it. And this frustrates the hell out of me. I consider an aloof style with regards to disagreement to be, I don't want to say disqualifying because I still usually engage with people, but it's a really bad sign, and I hate for it to be the default, or like the thing you have to go to be in. The esteemed positions of being a person qualified to talk about the thing is to be able to be neutral, and to be able to be neutral says a lot about the kind of person you are.
Right.
Like even-handedness versus partiality?
Right, but that's not necessarily it, right? Like, you can be even-handed and you can be partial with regards to the same topic, depending on your experience. Like, you can still imagine a person who is deeply involved, who is conflicted. That's certainly possible. one of them is just distant from gut reaction, and the other one isn't. That makes sense.
Well, a thing that I've said before is that when somebody says something that is like infuriating, I want to make sure I understand what they mean before I decide to get mad about it.
Yes.
That makes me aloof in this reading, right? Okay.
Well, again, like the previous claim was about what I would want conversation to be like. There's a different modus of what we actually do and how we should engage in the world that we live in. Because, I mean, I'm in a position where I have to talk to people who hold pretty shitty ideas and might actually be able to sway them, etc. And I'm occasionally in the position to be able to be aloof. I'm a fucking pretty autistic, pretty analytical person. I'm able to just talk about stats for the most part without exploding. But I find it really fucking terrible that people are asked to do this emotional labor, which is much easier for some people than for others.
How well? So then the pithy summary might be: how well can you avoid getting swept away in the affective nature of the thing that you're discussing?
Yeah. I'd want to tie this back to the whole internal versus external thing, because I feel like the thing which usually allows people to be aloof is this pretty neat compartmentalized model of themselves where they're like, oh, I can feel myself being mad. I can see the way I feel about things. Let's just parcel this away. Let's talk about it that way because that would be more rhetorically efficient, etc. This kind of move is still possible, but it's a lot easier for people who have this quite internal, quite good framing of themselves versus world. But yeah, this would be a thing I'd consider to be a more Darcy part of you. Though, I don't know, you get pretty heated in discussion, which is the thing I like about you. I like when people are able to seem like they actually fucking care about the thing they're talking about.
Passion is really good.
Yeah, passion is really good and occasionally considered disqualifying it in quote-unquote debate, which is fucking terrible.
Yeah, the debate sport should be destroyed for the good of humanity.
Yeah, people who are able to talk about their actions as though they did not take them, etc., that kind of thing, that would be the aloof versus embedded thing. And this is a thing that's quite strongly reflected in characters in the comic. I think this one has among the most bases in just like among characters and which moon they are assigned to. Do they seem like they're able to take the step back out of themselves, and do they do it frequently and apparently naturally or not?
This feels like something I can do and maybe do a lot, but the issue is I never stop feeling the thing. It feels wrong to engage without everything lining up in a consistent way. And so my approach usually is just to avoid discussions entirely, unless I feel that I can engage with them in a way that's going to play out productively.
Yeah.
I don't really like engaging in conversation while detaching myself from it, even if I can. It just kind of sucks.
I think I might be too in the middle on this to usefully describe myself by this metric.
I also don't think I can describe myself, but I'm curious what I'd look like.
Sometimes you run into a binary that is extremely clarifying and very helpful for explaining what you are like to other people. And sometimes you encounter a binary and you have so many quibbles with it and nuances that the binary itself is totally useless.
Right.
And I think that's what this one is for me right now. So I'm not marking anything for this one.
Yeah. So to return to my diatribe on this, or to conclude it, I consider myself a fairly aloof person who finds it really, really terrible that is a standard people are positively judged by, because I did nothing for it and I shouldn't get cred points for being able to do the whole step behind of myself and pretend to be neutral about something. Because that's so much easier if you aren't particularly affected yourself. And I just got it as a boon. This shouldn't give me points.
Yeah, I think I feel similarly.
I'm going to use the classic Tarbuck maneuver for this one and say that these are two independent skills that you should have both of.
Oh, yeah, no, I fully agree with this.
Yeah.
I never published this. Okay. I at some point was writing like a list of superpowers or like interesting mental maneuvers to perform that I have found or like am trying to get good at. And two things on that list are both like learn the skill of step out of yourself, evaluate as though you were not the person taking these actions, and also step into yourself and feel the thing fully without like shame or cynicism or trying to posture rationality or impartiality, etc. Like actually be in the thing right now. Yes, these are both skills and they have both very important skills.
Yeah.
And like the question is, which one are you better at? Yeah.
And with that, that we finally got to a clarifying point. Which one of these two things are you better at?
Oh,
as a skill.
Cool. And that worked.
I have to put this in terms of the solves problems, causes problems thing. Does stepping outside of myself and evaluating things neutrally ever cause problems for me? A little. Does getting passionate about things ever cause problems for me? A little. Which of these solves more problems for me? I'm marking them both. That's my answer.
Yeah, with that framing, I'd say I'm probably more aloof. Because, like, I guess, like, I've so rarely chosen to go for the embedded approach. That probably says something.
Yeah, and it feels very strongly tied into the thing you were talking about previously, about thinking about how other people perceive you very, very much, and trying to, like, do good by that sort of way.
Right.
All right, well, so far I'm split down the middle. Uh-oh.
What about Vamp on this one?
I think I'm entangled. Like, I'm not aloof, because usually my problem is that I get so passionate about my perspective that it sometimes causes me to struggle with communicating that to another person. And like talking to my sister recently, she described me as an impassioned person.
I agree with this.
Yeah, from what I've seen, I think that makes sense.
Anytime, like, a thing that has happened to you has been getting so worked up about the gravity of an issue that we are talking about, even though we can't affect it at all because we're not even really a part of it, that it, like, impairs your ability to function for the entire rest of the day.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
But a thing that hasn't happened to you has been stepping so far outside of yourself that you spend multiple hours arguing for a point that you don't even agree with.
Yeah, no, I couldn't do that. Like, no. The most I could do is, like, look at the other argument and be like, oh, I could see your points. And I have, like, devil's advocated before, and I frequently do that. I think I get on people's nerves for doing that, but I'm not good at being dispassionate or, like, hiding how strongly I feel about one way or the other.
Yeah.
Right. Now, I successfully dodged arguing for a point that I don't agree with, causing problems in my life, because back when there was a Digibro debate stream, I thought it would be really funny at the time if I argued for something that I didn't agree with. And we got pretty close to going on the show with, so here's why slavery is fine, actually. Because Trixie at the time had some pretty libertarian leanings, and she probably still does now, but I don't know what she's been doing for the past year. And then I thought, don't advocate for the devil. It's the devil.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sure I would make some really compelling good arguments that evil people would use, and that would be terrible.
Yep.
Yeah, and you also don't want to mislead good people who are maybe like not so strong in their convictions.
Right.
Yep.
Don't do it, Michael.
Yeah. No, it's just a very good impulse. I try to do it and occasionally fail.
It's terrible, but it would have been really funny.
It would have been funny, like, for 5 seconds, and then, like, oh god, this person believes it.
See, that's the attachment versus detachment thing.
It would have been funny for the people to whom it's obviously wrong, and it would have sent the people to whom it isn't onto a really bad life path.
Yeah. Good thing that I have such a track record of making correct choices.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Analytical versus intuitive. Am I reading this next one right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Are you Lex or Linim?
Yeah. It basically is, yes.
Oh god.
Oh, that's funny.
Well, what is this actually though?
Probably, do you more often feel anxious about not having gone with your gut, or do you more often feel anxious about not more often having carefully reasoned the thing through? If we do this sort of framing again, that would be the way I'd subdivide it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I almost never like. Is that true though? I don't know. Most of the time, it doesn't. I don't feel like when something has failed, it was because I didn't do something, or like even if I didn't like think it through all the way. To me, that's just like, oh, that was just the limit of my abilities. So why would I worry about that aspect of it?
Well, if it was the limit of your abilities, sure, but sometimes you actually have to make a fairly snap judgment.
Yeah, like I guess I just have this sense of like there's a reasonable amount that I can be expected to think about something before acting.
Yep.
And I also feel a little defensive about that too, because it like when I feel like I'm getting input at times from other people, like, oh, why didn't you do X, Y, or Z? It's like, well, because I just didn't think of it, like, because of it, like I just thought the best I could, and that's what I got. As far as intuition, though, I guess I feel like a more analytical person, but that is very much driven by these like larger intuitive branches, I guess.
Sure, I mean,
that tracks for me.
We all have to make decisions about what to think about that eventually need to bottom out in intuition, because you're running an infinite process if you have to have thought about the thing you need to think about and have thought about that, have thought about that recursively to the bottom of the stack, or rather to no bottom of the stack because you're being analytical about everything. It needs to eventually lead to intuition.
Yeah. I guess it's like this sort of thing where it's like, hey, this seems off, pay attention to this, and then all the focus goes toward it. I guess I feel more rooted in intuition. I don't know if that's what it looks like from the outside.
That makes sense to me. Like, that's how I would Glock you.
Okay.
And a thing that I think might be interesting about this particular axis is the analytical, like to gesture back at neurotypeline, the analytical seems to be lexical and internal, and the intuitive seems to be impressionistic and external. And if you're impressionistic and internal, you have to like that makes it harder to like type yourself along this particular axis because they're pulling from conflicting traits.
Right.
But I would say that at the root of you is more intuitive than analytical.
Okay.
I'm not sure I agree with that framing. I mean, I'd be... Maybe we just mean different things by these words. I'd be happy to hear a vibrate. But I feel to myself like a very analytical person.
Yeah.
I never trust my gut in the slightest.
Yeah.
On anything. And again, like the stack needs to eventually bottom out somewhere. So I'm still trusting my gut to think about what to think about what to think about what to think about, and then think about that. Eventually, it has a say, but boy, do I not feel safe unless I have several layers of insulation between them.
Gotcha. You serve as a pretty good counterexample to that thing that I just said. It's trash. Discard.
Forget it. I never cared about it anyways.
I feel that way about most, like, trying to pair neurotyping things to other things.
Yeah.
But some of that is because I've thought about neurotyping for so long that it's like a specific thing to me.
Yeah.
But it is fun to bring up anyway.
Where do I think I am on this? I think I skew intuitive because while I get really into the weeds of like making sure all my seams are straight, etc., I always, at every major step breakpoint, do a gut check.
Yeah.
That's my method on the show.
Yeah, right. That's a good argument.
Yeah.
In favor of this. And like my vibe check agrees.
Based on that, I think I'm analytical. Because I don't ever think to check my gut, and I often don't trust my gut.
Yeah.
Like, the thing that I panic most about is, have I analyzed the situation enough? Like, am I, like, do I have all the right information? Have I thought long enough on this? Am I making the right decision? Like, sometimes I'll use my gut as, like, a signifier, like, okay, I need to think on this more, but it's not like my gut says this and therefore, or anything.
When we're doing something like this, and I'm going through things analytically, I need that analysis to output a sensible intuition at the end of it. Because if we never output a sensible intuition, then I will remain suspicious of this line of reasoning.
Right. Yeah, it's also the thing of you make a spreadsheet to figure out what the good is. Like you make those pros and cons lists. And by the end, you don't necessarily follow the list, but you now have a feeling about the result you got. And you either think that, oh yeah, I agree with this, or, I still feel weird about this, despite the list having told me that I should do this. Or I'm going to flip a coin, and the coin flip doesn't actually matter, but how I feel about the result that comes up gets me to the choice I wanted to make.
If you flip a coin, at a free life hack to anyone, if you flip a coin, and then after flipping the coin, you're still indecisive, do the opposite of whatever the coin said as hard as possible.
Yep.
Well, when you put it that way, I wonder if I am actually more intuitive, because I keep putting analysis on a pedestal, but kind of in the hope that my analysis will then justify my gut check.
It's going to make you feel safer about
Yes, so maybe I take back what I said. I don't know what I am then. Because in my mind, analysis is the correct one. Like, that's what I should be doing.
Right, but that's because you have the deep-seated internal belief that you're wrong.
Because I am.
Be that as it may.
Yeah, see, I can punch myself too.
But I'm better at it.
Wow. Another thing for me to feel guilty about, I guess.
Love you.
Yeah, no, I do think this is a difficult one. And another one where I'm kind of tempted to say, well, again, you always reach intuition at the end of the line. The ways of cushioning in between don't necessarily matter. The reason about being less confident to say this one is fake is because I still feel that there's something real in this. Well, I don't feel safe either until I have done this many layers of analysis, or I don't feel safe until I have checked in with my gut about whether this result is true. Like, whether that actually points at how many layers of analysis are in between there, a bunch of this is going to be subconscious, etc. These don't necessarily mean reasons, but there is some mental impulse behind there that seems distinctive between groups of people.
Yeah, based on in part gut check and in part understanding of how other people work, it feels like we are hitting upon something real and something that does separate out, like that does affect how people think about things, and then like where a lot of disagreements come from in like issues in rationality. Right.
Because also, like, your gut isn't actually doing that much cognitive work. When we talk about these two things, it's still both just your brain. It's just some information being more legible to you than others.
Some people think in their gut.
Yeah, because these are both also skills. I feel pretty split on this one as well, but I'm leaning towards the intuitive because that tends to be how I ground my discussion on this show and on our previous show.
You can even say that a good analytical brain can foster good intuitions that are trustworthy.
Yeah. Right. I do think it's harder to teach an intuitive brain to have the intuition towards good analysis. That's way harder. And maybe I think that because I'm intuitive.
This might be on account of me working with a bunch of mega artists, but I feel like they're pretty equally hard. I've once worked with someone who I was like, hey, if you want to be tracking sort of productivity or general well-being, just, make a spreadsheet, enter, like, I did this and these hours, etc., and put how you felt about it in terms of being drained, in terms of being happy, etc., on a scale of 1 to 10. Like, I don't know if I mentally have the space for like a scale from 1 to 10 about how I feel at any given moment. That seems hard. Like, okay, just do a smiley face or a sad face. It's mostly smiley faces. I'm like, fine. basically always were okay, this is not getting us anywhere. I guess just measure work output then.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think you need a middle option. You need the like flat line face. You need two eyes and flat line. Then you have flat line, curve up, curve down.
Well, don't worry about me, dear audience. But the way this conversation actually ended in real life was me being like, okay, to give you an intuition for like sad face, smiley face, would you in this particular moment rather exist or not exist? Like, would you prefer to have experienced this chunk of reality? And they're like, yeah. Yes, universally that's the answer. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Good job.
Huh.
And then I was sad about that.
Yeah.
I would be too.
Like, oh, well, it's been great knowing you. I will never speak to you again because I will think about this every time I think of you.
Yeah. All right.
Introverted, extroverted. That's an easy one.
Oh, that's an easy one.
Are we doing the colloquial version of this?
What to you is the colloquial version?
The colloquial version is, are you able to talk to people or do you have a hard time talking to people?
Oh, no, that sucks.
Yeah.
That's just social anxiety. Yeah, no. We're doing the do you feel replenished by environment full of people, or do you feel replenished by a long time?
In which case, we run into the very, the extreme difficulty that I am an introvert. I just have a superhuman stamina.
Yep.
Yeah, so do we go by effect or do we go by your the core nature?
Right, because I can hold that sprint button for a year.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that because when I was living a little bit outside of O'Hare Airport, I was no further than 20 feet from my roommate for a year straight because there was only the one place to sleep and we were 4 feet apart. And we spent all of that time together engaged in a like rich conversation at all times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then after a year, I needed about 5 days to like go away and recover, and then I was back to full, and then I did it again.
Okay. I'm a little suspicious of the framing of this dichotomy, because like, I think it might be more useful to be like, how often are you like going out of your way to like engage with people? Because I think everybody is drained by people.
Spoken like an introvert.
And to some extent also charged by people. But it depends on who that is. Like, I think there's like a handful of people that are energized by talking to whoever. But most people, it's like if they're talking to somebody they don't like or a conversation that is like terrible, it's like, okay, this is really draining. Get me out of here.
Vamp, you were saying something?
Oh, I was going to be like I thought you're going in the direction of, I don't think anyone's truly like energized by talking to people. Like, I don't think like eventually someone's got to go away. I was going to say counterpoint, someone we know.
Friend of the show, Cloudberry.
Yeah.
If they don't talk to someone once every day, at least, about something that matters to them, they will wilt like a flower in a closet.
Yeah. Yeah, and like it empowers them even like to talk like bad conversation, because then
they can turn it into good conversation.
Yeah, they can turn it into good conversation, and it's also content to react to.
Meanwhile, in most social contexts, you have the stamina of a wet paper towel.
Yeah, unless we talk about like a small, very limited handful of conversations, and then I can be up till midnight.
Right. As long as it's within your special interest zone, you're fine.
Yeah.
If it's outside of that...
Yeah, like my friend Lilith, shout out, she's very much like, I think, technically an extrovert, in the sense of like, I mean, like, at some point, like, we were having a conversation, and she said something along the lines of, like, I need the content people, and then we both had to, like, stop and laugh at how, like, dumb that was of a thing. But, like, it's true. It's, like, just needs more, like, energized, but also is very actively drained by people, and, like, needs, like, okay, these are either the hours or situations where it's like, nobody talk to me, leave me alone.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, yeah, I guess it's like I'm aware of the ways in which this like crosses over and becomes muddled.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like worth like checking, because like I do think people mostly like land on one side or the other if you're looking at it. It's just like not always that obvious.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Like, as everything, like there isn't a switch in people's brain which might have landed one way or another, and like there is a spectrum, and it's technically what it is you probably have some need for alone time, some need for social, and these may be drastically different, but you probably still have it. Like, most people would not be content on a desert island not talking to anyone, even
Right.
if they had all the physical luxuries of life. They
Yeah.
would probably really revel in a conversation with a human being at that point. And similarly, most people would probably not be super happy, like, living amidst a party the entirety of their life.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
that situation that I described of 17 hours a day of just straight intense conversation for 2 years, only broken up by a 5-day rest. That would kill most people.
Right, yeah. Well, I still also have a thing to go into with that. But firstly, still spectrums there, and also we're talking about the, like, platonic idea of alone time and people time. Obviously, it's very easy to be drained by a terrible conversation, even if you like conversation, even if you like people. And it's really easy to be drained by feeling horribly lonely and disconnected from everything and not knowing what to do with yourself when you're in a room. Like, there's bad alone time and there's bad people time. And both of these are more draining than the default of it. But I mean, I don't even have to imagine the desert island scenario. I have been, like, fairly physically alone for a long time, and it was just, cool, I'm going out and I get to have a conversation with a cashier, and it's not really interesting. It's nothing. It's, like, not annoying, but it's not a good conversation by any metric. And so I feel like, oh yeah, fuck humanity. Great, love that. Love that humans are still real. And the same thing goes the other way around. And then, like, there are people for whom it will be really difficult to drain you. I've lived together with my best friend for years, and we spent half of each day talking to each other. We still went out, did other things, etc. But we still spent all the time that we were at home in the same living room or sleeping, talking to each other. And it's not that I consider us to be the same person. We are very different people, but I consider us to be basically part of the same mind. Talking to him doesn't really feel like talking to people. Talking to him feels like two parts of me arguing with each other. So that barely even feels like being among people anymore.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I knew somebody once who just casually and by accident went an entire month without using their voice.
I feel like I could definitely do that if I wasn't inclined to sing when I'm alone in the house.
And then
Same, yeah.
Went out to get something, like to get groceries, because it had been a month. Went out to get groceries and then reported back via chat, oh, I forgot that everyone sucks.
No.
Nice.
Wonderful.
Oh, dear.
That's friend of the show, Mask. Shout out.
Yeah, I like also definitely notice myself certainly spinning narratives about broader humanity when I'm locked up in my room for too long. And it's always a normalizing one. I like there's a regression to the mean where the mean is myself. And I think of people more as basically myself the longer I am from them. And then meeting people is usually like, oh yeah, right, humanity is so much better and so much worse than I thought.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes me feel a little better to hear someone else say that, because I feel like I'm constantly wavering between both extremes when I'm talking to people. Just learning all the ways that others are great, but also how I hate them. I don't want to be around them anymore.
Yeah. So I would, amidst this, again, like smooth spectrum, certainly place myself as an introvert, because across a month, let's say, I need basically a week of alone time and I need maybe 2 hours of people time and I'm going to be fine. The rest can go as it will.
Okay, we flip it around and we turn it into needs. I'm still in the exact same problem because I can go long periods of time without talking to anybody. Although, can I?
Can you?
I haven't tested this in a while. It's been a while.
Yeah.
I was when I determined that about myself, I was in a very different place in my life.
Yeah, at this point, you're constantly surrounded by people, either physically or just a couple buttons away, just a voice call away.
Yeah, like it's still talking to people if it's through the internet.
Oh, yeah.
Your parents lied to you.
Definitely.
That's still sociality.
Yeah.
I mean, we can still split that, though I don't think this is like a prosperous access thing. But people definitely still also variate on the gradient of how much physical human proximity they need. And that's very distinct from how much talking to people they need.
Yeah.
And you're
I don't know if I have that.
usually kind of psyoping yourself and making yourself miserable by thinking that they need to be the same thing.
I wouldn't be surprised, Tarbuck, if you don't have that, because I know one of the troubles, disagreements that various folks have had with you over the years has been like, I can't connect with this person because I've never been physically in a room with them and hung out with them, and you're just like, no, that's stupid.
Yeah. There's a category of person who regularly says to me, how, like, you gain so much more information from being in a room with somebody. Like it is more communicative. You don't feel any kind of barrier to understanding another person by not being in the same room with them. And I saying, no, you're just defective.
No, I disagree. Okay, I have to believe one of two things here. One of them is you are way better at audio processing than I am, or you are way worse at facial processing than everyone else is. Because
it may just be like Tarbuck doesn't care about that information. It doesn't do anything.
Yeah, like
filter out
hanging out
noise.
with you, I get so much more flavor from statements you make, and like it changes the things I want to like investigate or go in on, depending on having your mimicry and the way you move your arms as you say certain things. Like it's just much, much easier and much higher bandwidth to talk to people when you have all these other signals. And like, I don't believe that you get all of that information out of voice. Like, possibly more than me, but I'll cede that. But surely not all of it.
You get trivially more information out of being in person with somebody. Like, it's so not a thing to me. You know that thing in where if somebody is talking to you on call and they are smiling, you can hear it.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
I don't know why people don't talk about stuff like that more often, and it must be because I hear it and they don't.
It can be.
I learned about this when I was 12. Because people were complaining about me sounding like a fucking bitch on the phone because I hated having phone calls. And I was like, oh, they stopped doing that if I just neurotically smile while having phone calls and talk like this the entire time. And it works great. And everyone like comes away being super satisfied by phone calls with me since I was 13. And I like phone calls now because people are no longer as put off by it. And still, like, I sometimes have friends who are around while I'm having a phone call who later look at me and go like, what the fuck? That was the most deranged facial expression I've ever seen on a person. What is wrong with me? I'm doing the phone call face. It makes people happy when they are speaking to me.
The uncanny Oro face.
The phone call face.
Yes. And, I mean, again, all humans are mega fucking autistic and they're bad at reading cues. So, also I just did an exaggerated version of this. Even I could have probably clocked this one as that's not a natural smile you're doing as you're saying these words. But it's like good enough to get most people there.
You're really not beating the autism allegations.
No. This is the thing, like the customer service smile that people suddenly got better at during COVID. You do the minimal viable thing of convincing people of an emotion and they'll just buy it because they want to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Urcoy, have you landed on one or the other in the middle or anything?
Oh, I mean, I knew I was introverted from the start. I was I was trying to poke at Tarbuck, because to me, Tarbuck seems extroverted.
Right. Yeah. You know,
because it's like, what other kind of person just like goes around and like talks to that many people? Like, how do you get in that situation in the first place?
it's because I care a lot about subjects that I talk to. Like, okay, this is a pretty fundamental difference that has been the focus of my life for a little while recently. In recent history, there's been a lot of talk about people conversation versus topic conversation. Or do you care about the subject, or do you care about connecting to the other person? And the subject is actually just like set dressing. Like when somebody is talking to you about your day or about the past week or the weather or the sports team or whatever, they are not talking about the thing that they're talking about. They are using your reactions of these things to gauge your feelings and to establish a rapport. And establishing the rapport is doing the work of building the connection. So what you say is irrelevant.
Yeah.
They don't even listen to what you have to say. Now, I can do that, but I think that's vapid. So if you do that, I will punish you.
Ah.
I mean, I do think I do care more about the connection part of it, but I also like hate gaming things like that. Like, oh, let me just talk about complete nothing.
Yeah. I also hate gaming.
Oh my god.
I feel like one of these
yeah,
things
I hate
the
it so
other.
much I made a channel.
I've told this story before, but the way that Vamp and I met is because I was I was going around from group to group in college having topic-oriented conversation, and if the person was like if they couldn't hang, then I would just leave and try having that conversation with somebody else. And eventually I had an interesting conversation with somebody who set me up with you.
Yeah. Friend of mine, friend/ex was like, yo, you gotta meet this weird person.
Hey, you know who you need to meet? Vamp.
That sounds great.
Wonderful.
I have a lot more to say about that, which we will loop back to at another time.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. That's its own thing, which I was going to kind of bring up, just sort of like aside.
I could do 40 minutes on just that subject.
But like, we are now at the cap of Oro's declared time availability.
Don't worry about that one too much. We're gonna be fine.
Okay, then.
So, I mean, I'm fine. Well, okay, maybe not 40 minutes. But
yeah, we're not.
I still have some bits to say about this one. I would kind of like to keep going.
Okay, yeah, we're just going to put a pin in subject versus people.
Trusting versus distrustful. I read this as a general orientation and not necessarily of like meeting individual people.
Yeah, sure.
Like, I notably frequently say, everything is out to get you at all times. You updated your phone? Too bad. You don't your camera's now a paid service. Like, it's that bad. Sign up with an email so you can harass me? No.
Yep.
The correct orientation is to be suspicious of all of these things around you, because they are in fact out to get you all the time from all directions. And I'm frequently criticized for saying something completely ludicrous in this arena. And then it turns out that I was right about some aspect of cybersecurity or something like that. And they were like, how did you even correctly guess that? And I'm like, because I pay attention to the world around me.
Yeah, because it has always been like this. It is this way in every other arena. Yeah, this is another one where I'm like, okay, technically, the correct thing to do is be distrustful of all things that aren't to be trusted and be trusting of all things that are to be trusted. But
you have to figure that out.
You're a limited agent, so you can't actually implement this policy. And we certainly seem to be living in a world in which most things benefit more from killing and exploiting you than they do from working with you.
See, I came up like very inundated in like hippie culture and hippie thinking, and so at my core, I'm very trusting, even though that is causing me problems, and I know I ought not be.
It's one of the other major forces that ruins your life.
Be the change you want to see in the world.
I mean, yes. I don't think these things are mutually exclusive.
No.
The thing you should be doing in the world is build networks of people who are to be trusted and then get to trust each other and mitigate all the friction that is created by looking around every corner. But you only want to be doing that in safe environments, and first you need to be distrustful enough to actually go out of your way to create safe environments.
Mm-hmm. This one, I feel like sort of trusting by default, or that's like kind of the thing I prefer, and it's more like as things happen, as betrayals occur, or like stuff is revealed, then it's like, okay, let's just build this list of like things either specific or categorical that are not to be trusted and proceed from there.
Yeah, are you whitelist or are you blacklist?
Right, yeah, I was about to make that exact same comparison of whitelisting versus blacklisting things, yeah.
Yeah, which, by the way, I'm definitely whitelist.
Yep, same. Maximally so.
Right. Like, I feel very comfortable navigating the world and everything, partly because I always have the thought in the back of my head about how this can go wrong, but I'm made more secure as I navigate the world by my incredible capacity for violence. And so, like, the extent to which I might be under threat at any time has a limit, and that limit is my capacity for violence.
Always carry a knife, always.
Yes. And if you're in a country where you can't carry a knife, you should at least carry an all-metal pen that's strong enough to pierce a throat.
Yeah.
And maybe a flashlight.
Flashlight, yeah.
One of those really intensely powerful flashlights. Because you can defend blind, but you cannot attack blind.
Yeah.
All right, that one was easy. This is the one that I've been excited for a while. Okay.
Oh boy.
Understanding the self better than the world, or understanding the world better than the self. I immediately read this as a build order thing. Which of these things did you do first? Because obviously you should, like, everyone in the world agrees that you should do both. But
yes,
which should you do first?
See, for me, I understand the world via understanding myself. So, like, I start with myself and then, like, kind of branch outwards, understanding, well, I can feel this way about a situation, so someone else might be able to feel a certain way about that situation, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's an interesting way of explaining that.
That's how I've thought of it since high school.
Gotcha.
And that's why everyone was like, man, you're such a good, like, therapist. You're so good at understanding other people. And it's like, I just understand myself and know that's how I feel about these things. And so I get that someone else can have a similar experience. It's not that hard.
Right. Meanwhile, I go all the way towards understand the self first, because the thing that is worse than not knowing how the world works is being ignorant of your own opinions and reasoning patterns.
Yeah.
There should never be something about you on like a fundamental character level that surprises you. If you do not know yourself, if you're unaware of your own habits and inclinations, get the fuck back to elementary school. You don't belong here.
And that's why I have so much anxiety about not knowing that I'm doing something that I should know I'm doing.
Your knowledge of the self is building a strong foundation from which you might interact with the world. Because whenever anything challenges you, not only do you have a response to it, you would have a response to it no matter what, but you have an assured response to it. You know what your response is going to be. You should be able to accurately predict your own behavior in extraordinary circumstances.
Yeah. I mean, you should be able to predict the world's behavior in extraordinary circumstances. Again, we're just back to, you should be able to predict things. It's a good skill.
Right. But if you have to choose one to give up, like, let's say you have both and you have to choose one to lobotomize out of you, it is much better to forget how the world works than to forget how yourself works.
Yeah, I agree. You're less of a threat that way, because if you understand how the world works, but you don't understand why you're doing things, you're just maximally fucking dangerous. You will fuck things up for no reason. So I agree, but like, not for any natural reason that humans would probably find themselves.
When you put it on that footing, it totally makes sense. I was feeling like distressed by the idea, even though I agreed, because you forget how the world works, and so now you get to relearn the trauma of figuring out how the world works.
Yeah. Would you rather your trauma be internally directed or externally directed?
Yeah.
Would you rather traumatize others or yourself? That's actually, I think that's a good summary of Durst Prospect. Would you rather traumatize others or yourself?
That actually maps fairly well upon
Boom! Got it!
Wow,
But,
solved it.
like,
Solved the episode.
I don't know if the which one you developed first is actually what we want to be looking at. I actually don't know. Like, it might be, but I have basically the opposite experience of that. Where I, again, not fucking beating the autism allegations, but used to be mega fucking pattern obsessed. Why do things work the way they work, etc. And like, still, like, a bunch of the way I understand myself is, well, in a certain environment of rewards, you get incentives which lead to this kind of thing. Like, I first got good at, like, interpreting patterns, interpreting social dynamics, interpreting how cities' feedback patterns, etc. function, and then later learned to, what if I apply all of this to my mind? And since these features are more or less anecdotal, like, the brain isn't anything special. It works like any other kind of reward structure, more or less. If you're good at one, you generally can port it over the other. But I'm doing the exact opposite of what Vamp is doing. I'm not going like, oh, I basically understand myself, and from that it's easy to understand everything else. I'm going like, well, I basically understand how patterns in the world works, and I can just apply that to me. I'm just another object in that.
This is a strange one to me, because it feels like there's nothing to measure either of these against that you'd be able to say, oh, I understand this one or that one better.
Right, yeah. Because the world is still just your vision, your interpretation of the world.
Now,
yeah. And yourself is your interpretation of yourself, too.
This is an interesting intersection with a pie chart that I've pulled up over the years from time to time, which is the trifecta of ADHD, autism, and gifted kid. Because gifted, in quotes, in at least in the American schooling system, was a kind of neurodivergence that they were controlling for and siloing all the kids who had it off into their own classes. And one of the I saw a talk by a psychologist gamer who was doing live streams talk about
that's that one.
Yeah, you'd probably know the one.
Yeah,
something like Healthy GG.
Yeah, Healthy Gamer, Dr. Kenny.
One of the things that he said there was the difference between like the build order in which you learn about things, learning about the parts of the world that are not people versus learning how people work and interpersonality and etc. And that gifted kids learn interpersonality and how people work second. They learn it later, usually in like the high school area, rather than learning that first in elementary and middle school.
Yep, no, definitely true. I got pretty good at people, but I got good at people late.
Gotcha. So if there's one thing that the audience should take away from this, it's not just that what Durst and Prospect mean, it's that gifted kids are neurodivergent.
Yeah,
which leads to gifted kid burnout.
As everyone's favorite fascist Curtis Yarwin once said, intelligence at the high end is just another mental disorder.
That's pretty good. Okay. What is the opposite of cynicism? Is it the like toxic positivity, easily fooled, trust that causes problems?
Yeah, like naivete would be the naive counter I would give.
Yeah.
I don't know if I agree with that upon reflection, but
do you think that like this kind of naivety versus cynicism maps onto this Durst Prospect distinction?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, like that's like the thing I was saying earlier too about like the characters, where like the first batch it kind of did, but from there it really didn't at all.
Okay, so Durst and Prospect, either kind can be cynical.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or maybe not cynical in like model of the world, but certainly in outcomes.
Gotcha. Because now I've scrolled down the document and I'm starting to look at like the examples page of like who is what. And I'm trying to draw comparisons in here because we're now at the end of the list that we've got. I think we should do more.
Sure.
Because so far it seems like just introvert and extrovert in popular culture extrapolated onto other character traits.
Did you actually give an answer to model of self versus model of the world beyond which one you think is best?
Right. I didn't do the thing. Self. Mm-hmm. Definitely self.
Gotcha.
I don't know which one I am. Because it feels like I've had more information about the self, because I'm aware of my own perception, but it's like I also feel like I only learn about myself by, maybe not only, but it's like I'm looking to the world to see, like, does anything in the world map to what I've got going on, or vice versa?
Mm-hmm.
And I guess, like, I'm just thinking about the interplay so much that I have no idea which of these I actually would lean on by default or actually understand better.
Yeah. I mean, they are difficult in very different ways, right? The world is a much more complicated object, but you're capable of seeing it somewhat more clearly. You have a lens that looks out into the world, whereas you can't have a lens that sees its own flaw. Like, your vision of the self is filtered through the self, so you have an internally distorted image. Mm-hmm. So you have a simpler thing seen blurry versus a more complex thing seen less blurry. And the ways of understanding both go through different sorts of competence.
I don't know.
Do you want our vibe reads?
Yeah. I'm curious what that is.
I agree that you're less extreme on this, but you do strike me as a more internal, put more effort into trying to understand self person.
That makes sense to me.
Okay, yeah.
I have had other people, I agree with that. And I was just thinking that I've had other people put this dichotomy to me as doomer and bloomer.
Why do you hang out with 16-year-olds?
Everybody used to be 16 at some point, although...
Yeah, and most of us grew out of it.
That's not true. Most of us didn't, actually. For most definitions of us. I guess if by us you mean people that we talk to, then yeah, we did, but...
Children are terrible. Glad I never was one.
Yeah.
I'm actually making a joke about most humans having grown out of literally being 16. So talk about beating autism allegations. I was actually being figurative.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's, well, it's a certain kind of look.
Okay, so what are you getting from the example charts? That was where you were going.
From the example charts... I think I'm Durse. Like a stealth Durse, but still a Durse.
What about it?
Her.
Like, which names are you gravitating to make this judgment?
Let's see. What do we got here? We got Eda Clawthorn. I was bouncing all over the chart here.
Yeah.
It's hard to even pick out like individual names because.
Yeah. Right. It's very scattershot. It's hard to fill such a thing. For most of them, it's good to look at a pair of characters who are in a similar framing that lets you compare and contrast.
Yeah.
So, like, your L Death Note and your Light Death Note are a Prospect and a Durse, respectively. And very much in the, like, when do we get any sort of interiority in the understand what makes a criminal, what makes good people, why am I doing the thing? Like, L is just I've been assigned this job. I am a good detective. I will figure out this thing by way of the patterns of behavior that people operate by. Whereas Light is this intensely neurotic, trying to double guess own choices and extrapolating everything from how he would do things into the world. Like, they are a good example of these contrasting thought patterns, going from self to world or from world to maybe self, but L doesn't even give us much self-reflection from world. Stages.
That's an interesting way to put it.
If I look back over this conversation, I definitely think that the heart of it, to me, as it has been conveyed to me, what does it correlate most strongly to is the attached versus detached conversational model, and like the like your orientation towards solo versus connection.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I wanted to get back to that because I hadn't held that specific framing before Coy just said it, and it makes me feel worse about my placement.
Yeah.
Which is good and interesting because I'm always saying this, but I want to be a hive mind. I think society is so fucking neat, and being limited to a small human body which has a brain that's far too small and doesn't know what it ought to be doing most productively, etc., is kind of terrible and kind of torture. I want societies, I want hive minds that function, and I want to be in them. So I very strongly try to think in terms of societies and where I should place and what bread I should be baking so I'm not going to get killed and eaten by the group, etc. As a normal, well-adjusted person does. But I certainly fall on the Dearth side of most of these axes, and it certainly in most of them seems like the where they are two countervailing skills. The Prospect side is a thing that I have learned, but I've learned it because I think it is valuable, because I think it's a thing that people ought to be doing. So yeah, that's a fun one of, I am possibly just the wrong shape of critter, but I at least know what I ought to be.
Yeah.
I see.
It makes you feel like this.
No, I don't. Well, the social people who have this as their factory settings also aren't meaningfully being part of a hive mind. They're also miserable and don't actually know what they ought to be doing, etc. They're possibly better suited to it, but they don't get the experience. So, no, I'm not missing out on account of that. I just feel like I am not a native speaker, and I've learned to speak the language that I like better. And that's fun.
Which for everybody who's keeping track is English.
No, English is a shit language. You should. German has its flaws, but at least it's not English. The fucking bastard tongue of Albion has never brought anyone anything but pain.
Yeah.
What was everyone's tallies, actually?
All right. I have a lot of splits here, or just barely leanings.
I did skip one, but I ended up fairly close, but leaning towards the, damn it was on the tip of my tongue. Hold on. The Prospect.
Okay. I've got 4-2.
I think I kind of feel similar to Orob in the opposite direction, where I'm naturally Prospect, but I'm learning the ways of Durst. And there are fundamental features of me that kind of are they're very Durst, but I have measured them in some way to have a more Prospect outlook and mode of operating.
Yeah. I'm getting Durst, fake, Prospect, Durst, Prospect.
I got 4-3, I think. Leaning Prospect. I think on this, I feel sort of like it's the type of thing I would have expected to be more Durst. At least when I was younger.
Well, also we shouldn't be judging just by how many do you lean which direction. If you really intensely leaned in one direction on one of them, then that should count more, etc.
Oh, I thought we were just kind of going by tallies at the moment.
Sure.
Yeah, I didn't remember how heavily, but it's been the sort of thing where the further along I've gotten, the more I've found these Prospect things to come naturally and feel nice. Yeah, I don't know. I guess it was the idea of more of a Durst person, but not really.
If you were to look at reads the news versus doesn't read the news or follow the news or what have you, my thought is that the Prospect reads the news and the Durst does not. Does that map to you?
I don't read the news.
I read the news. So from us, it's exactly the opposite.
Okay, but we're not going by individual examples, because any individual example, we're trying to talk about trends. Does it fit the archetype?
I don't feel like it does.
No, I think it's...
I do actually feel like it's weakly the opposite, if anything.
The thing that I'm leaning towards with this is that the two orientations towards the news are follows it and it doesn't follow it. And if you follow the news, you are misinformed. And if you don't follow the news, you are uninformed. So which of these things do you think is worse? To be misinformed or to be uninformed? What do you do more often?
Well, this question feels false and wicked.
Yeah, I'm trolling a little bit with this, but
yeah,
yes.
no, like obviously, if you're misinformed, as in you always believe the exact opposite of what is true after having read the news, then obviously being uninformed is better, because that at least gives you random chance on being wrong or right.
Mm-hmm.
If you know nothing, you're gonna be right half the time. States news media is pretty fucked, so even states news media, if you mean actual news, not talk shows about the news, even Fox News, the actual news segment, is mostly impartial reporting. It just also has a bunch of talking heads doing political analysis, which is a different thing. So I think you're usually misinformed to a degree that is less than 50%. I think you're usually better off being misinformed by some section, and some section that you can usually pretty well model by class interests and the likes. Like, you'll know what the things you're gonna be misinformed are, the things you ought to be questioning.
Gotcha. I was going for the archetype of people who read headlines on Reddit but don't click through to the article.
Oh yeah, no, they're fucked. the art, like, headlines are selected for being the most attention-grabbing thing. The most attention-grabbing thing is the most surprising thing, and the most surprising things are almost never correct, because, reality is largely unsurprising because reality makes sense. So yeah, no, headlines are super optimized to actually be the opposite of true. So you are going to be worse than random chance if you just believe headlines.
Right, but we also both know that this is what people do.
Sure. I would just never refer to that as reading the news. Because I'm not crazy.
Yeah, maybe that's a little healthier.
Not crazy Oro, they call me.
I have heard that said of you. Hey, you remember earlier when I said that regardless of the analysis, I do always cash out into a vibe check?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, even looking at all of this, I still think I lean Prospit.
Nice.
Interesting.
Which means that my initial but we have to check this against our past selves, because back when I did the reading, I said that I'm Durse. Is that legible to you?
Yeah, again, I think you're much more split across them.
Mm-hmm.
I do think like you're not a person who is fairly neutral on a lot of them. You're pretty intense on traits that are associated with both. So yeah, this parser is based on what you would have paid most attention to, I guess, or had a better grasp on as you read it the first time, and thus interpreted more strongly.
All right.
Also, this is mood dependent. This is day dependent.
Yeah.
If you've been stranded on the desert island for a few months, you might be leaning differently than if you've just been through a few house parties.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think then that Durse and Prospect is largely environmental?
I think everything is largely environmental.
Yeah, I mean...
Okay, but on what timescale?
I think you regress to a mean, and I think you have a fairly reliable environment that you create for yourself. I think the question we want to be asking is, which of these do you tend to be wanting, to be craving? Which modes of thought do you operate in the kind of situations you would willingly put yourself in? But if life plays its tricks, as it so often does, it can easily put you in situations where you scan differently. So for someone who has a decent amount of control about their life, I expect they'd have a consistent orientation 95% of the time, whereas someone who is, let's say, a child who is at the whims of eldritch gods trying to make decisions for them, I don't know, fucking everything's on the table, dude. Best of luck.
One of the other takes that I had during this process was that maybe I'm too healthy for this to apply to me.
Yes, I often have this thought. About you.
Thank you.
Also about me, but you are one of the people I also have this about.
Right. I guess there's a lot of there's a lot of trappings or issues you can, and on either side of these that ideally you want none of these.
Right, again, a bunch of those are oversimplifications to bad situations. You don't want to be a distrustful or a trustful person. You just want to be a person who judges things correctly.
Yeah, get good.
Yeah. You don't want to be an analytical or an intuitive person. You want to arrive at the correct outcomes that will make you happy at the end of the day and make the world good, etc. Yeah, this is basically just, what are the safe defaults you resort to when you don't have enough information, as humans so rarely do.
So we got to cap this whole thing off with a little bit of a retrospective.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a while since we did the other parts of Classpecting.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I wanted to get to a point where I would be able to like immediately clock Durst and Prospit on other people, and I don't think that I have done that. Because like all right, so I'm looking at this list of characters, like Luce Noceda, obvious.
Yeah.
Evelyn Clawthorne, obvious. But Jennifer Melfi from Sopranos, that one was not obvious to me.
It's been a while since I watched The Sopranos.
Okay, well, we'll do it from scratch right now. Which one do you think she is?
Oh, yeah, I would have also guessed this. I wonder what reason I had to put her in Prospect. Interesting.
Huh.
Yeah. Me who has just watched The Sopranos would have to be asked about that. I'm sure I had a take. I only put people there if I had like a good reasoning that I could explain to a person, but I've lost it.
Yeah.
Let me try to recreate this.
Diogenes being Prospit on this list is interesting.
Oh yeah, no, this makes perfect sense to me.
Huh. The Doctor is Prospit. Sarah Asher is Prospit. Yeah.
Everyone play hit video game of the devil.
Yeah.
Act 3 is Act 2 is out now, which is the third installment, because they do code numbering.
Is it complete now, or is it just that the most recent one came out?
No, it's not complete. I believe they're doing 6 volumes. Unsure.
Okay.
The next one is, I believe, still coming out in 2026 at some point.
I wouldn't have clocked L as Prospit.
Huh.
Which is my evidence that I do not like have the complete understanding of this that I want.
Before the explanation I did earlier, or after it?
Now, in this moment.
That would make you disagree. Okay. Like, he's certainly introverted. Well, I mean, he does have his whole, like, school of gifted kids in the environment of which he grew up, and always has his butler friend around him. So, but yeah, he certainly is. He's introverted coded. They give you all the stylistic markers of this is an introverted person, but we never see him, like, again, like, struggling with social interaction isn't what introverted is about, but if you don't see much reason to interact with people, you're not going to be particularly good at it usually. We never see him struggle with social interaction particularly, and again, he does always seem to have people around him. So I don't even think that one holds, but yeah, with Al, it's certainly he does not fit the aesthetic vibe usually associated with Prospit. But like, we can go through all of those in order, right? Accommodating, yeah, definitely. Does a whole different style of investigation, locks himself in really fucking weird predicaments to, crack the case, do whatever the fuck. Gives into basically all the demands the task force makes of him, even though he's never worked with a task force of that size. Understands world better than self. Certainly, we don't see him like struggle with any kind of internal morality or etc. He just has a task. He's going to do it. He's going to do it well, and he has a pretty good pattern of how the world and people and organizations etc. work. Going with the flow. I mean, seems to be again the little sort of introspective navel gazing about what is the right thing with criminals, etc. Like, no, there's a crime being committed. I'm a detective. Do the thing. Flexible seems to be assured. Definitely seems to be intuitive. Yeah. Personable seems to be when he wants to. Not trusting, but that's basically the job description.
I think it makes sense.
I'm currently looking. I'm thinking about the stuff that you just said, and then as soon as you stopped talking, I started looking at the descriptions that you have written in this doc. And I think, should I be a behaviorist about this and like measure the things that I engage in, or like, I don't think so. We're talking about nature, not activities. We're the goal is to discuss internal states.
Right.
I suppose the trouble with then trying to like map this onto media is we only have the behaviors. We don't really have the internal states for most of the characters.
Sometimes we have internal narration, but I mean, again, that's a discussion we could have about the comic. Like, what about this is the state you're in currently? What is the way you are wanting to be? The way you would still be in the future? Like, what is this label even trying to say about you? I think we could perform both analyses and would probably get interesting things out of each of them. Vamp and I have kind of done this and came to opposite conclusions on each of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think any of them is wrong, but each of them could be cared about for different reasons.
As I look over it, it reminds me of a lot of, as I look over your description, it reminds me a lot of the Enneagram posts, which are about measuring people's problems.
Yeah.
In which way are you fucked up? And I think that bolsters my read that I might be too healthy for this.
Yeah. I mean, one of the ways we were thinking about it is which one of these causes your problems, and we very quickly got away with that for you for a lot of them.
Because I solve my problems.
Yeah, so let's talk about Homestuck for a moment.
Yeah, do that.
Oh, weird. Okay, let's talk about Homestuck.
Because we've been calling these moons. They are moons, and they are places in a weird astral sphere where your dream self wakes up. These are the physical locations which you occupy as you are dreaming. And your dreaming self tends to be a somewhat stupider, somewhat closer, lacking some bits of higher cognition version of you. This claim is not made in the comic itself, but I think this tells us something about the way we should use this for personality typing. In the kind of way that I said earlier of, well, usually we make decisions with too little information and what feels safe, what would our dreaming self or our inebriated self are less capable than we want us to be to trust ourselves, try to rely on for some grasp upon reality. Is it, oh, I can reason through my own thought process, therefore I'm basically real, or oh, someone pinched me, there's something in the real world, I can understand this thing happening over there, reality exists, therefore I'm safe. Or again, the trying to perform some kind of analysis, or trying to rely on some intrinsic feeling about how the thing is, etc. When we don't trust our greater self, or when we are somehow incapacitated, dreaming, tired, inebriated, etc., how would we make decisions then? Is, I guess, one way of thinking about this. What's our safe spot? And as well-adjusted, basically healthy people these days, hopefully we don't default to the safe spot that often. It tends to cause a bunch of different character malfunctions, but occasionally you somewhat have to. And we probably remember from when we were less healthy of picking that safe option more often.
What do I think is the safe option?
My intuition with you is DERS.
Yep, mine too.
Yep.
DERS it is.
Yeah, just be maximally paranoid about everything.
Literally, I was looking over... I took a trip recently to a place with legal weed, and then I did some edibles, and determined I never want to do that again. But that's for another episode.
Oh yeah, no, weed is a shit drug.
Yeah. Why do people keep choosing the worst drugs to be the ones they keep legalizing? First it was alcohol, now this. Fuck off.
They never came for tobacco.
I'm sure somebody gets... I'm sure somebody gets something useful out of this, people with anxiety. But I'm better than those people, so...
Way to, isolate yourself from, assumably most of the audience and half the podcast.
Okay, I'm kidding, because all the people that I know who don't have anxiety other than me are all trash people.
Well, I am anxious, and weed doesn't help. Weed, if anything, makes me more anxious. I'm more annoyed on it than anxious. I just feel like I can't think.
Gotcha.
I'm going nowhere at a reasonable pace, and that is A, scary, and B, just fucking annoying. I want to be at the end of the thought already. I know that my brain can be at least a bit better than that.
One of the things that I caught myself doing, because I took extensive notes during this. And by I took notes, I actually mean that my trip sitter took notes. Because I would say something, I'm like, you gotta write that down. And they're like, and I'm like, you gotta write that down. And they're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, and then you get sober and you're like, oh yeah, I understand why you didn't want to write that down. This is fucking garbage.
So I opened the note document later and I find 182 lines of notes.
Yeah.
I'll unpack that at some point. But all of that to say that I was looking over it, one of the things that jumped out to me is that I was like, apparently I was really, really, really quiet with my voice because I was like really paranoid that I was being too loud, because that's the thing that people always tell me is that I'm too loud.
Yeah.
I know of 3 people who never say this to me out of the entire population. So I was really keeping my voice down because I was like, I don't know if I'm being too loud, so I'm just gonna overcorrect. I'm gonna keep my voice all the way down. And I'm just going to speak too quietly. And if the person I'm talking to has to lean in and I have to repeat myself, then hopefully I don't lose the plot on what it was that I was saying. Yeah. And this like paranoia about it was paranoia, but it was also paranoia about how I was affecting others, how I was harming others.
Yeah.
I think on balance that skews Durst.
I'm not sure about that specific example. But like the things you've said previously about, yes, everything's out to get you, etc., should be a default assumption. That certainly seems like a dirty place to retreat to in the world as it is.
Yeah.
When I'm distracted and somebody gives me some new thing, in being distracted is like being on drugs, except you can't stop.
Yeah. Well, you can stop more easily than being on drugs.
I can. That's true.
Oh, I don't mean then quitting drugs, then like stop being on the thing you are currently on. That's a pretty hard thing to do.
Yeah, I'm saying that like there's an altered mental state caused by long-term distraction, and that is worse than drugs and also harder to stop because you can break somebody's concentration on the thing that they're doing, but if they do not have concentration because they're in a doom scroll haze and they're just like bombarding themselves with stimulation in order to stay at their baseline level of stimulation, but it's pulling them in a bunch of different directions and it's all like a jumbled mess, that person is going to be useless for hours.
Sure. Very little contact with that. That sounds terrible.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Don't go on TikTok, kids. Anyway, when I am distracted because of like lots of scrolling through Pinterest or some other thing where I'm lying to myself and telling myself that I'm doing research on something, and somebody brings me some piece of news, I retreat into cynicism as my default mode because it's easy. It's autopilot. My autopilot is cynical. And I think I'm correct, but I also think that makes me Durst.
Yeah.
I'm correct, but I'm Durst.
It is preferable in the world, I think, to go towards connection and be prospect.
But like, you only get to do that if you don't get shredded in the process, and that takes a bunch of safeguards and distrustfulness to get there. Or luck. I guess you could get there with luck.
So we have the Lunar Sway. We've got class. We've got aspect. It's been a minute. What of these things sticks with you?
Sticks as in I remembered?
Or has resonance? What reflect on it.
Blood was a class, right? Or no, the aspect.
No, it's an aspect.
Yeah, I knew what I meant to. I did the thing where I know what I mean to say, and then I didn't say it because, which is annoying because I've been thinking about the blood aspect a lot, like the revelation that that aspect most strongly aligns with me has really reframed a lot of my thought, and a lot of my understanding of myself, and a lot of where I tend to struggle and then like not quite go wrong, but like the problems I tend to have or like the pain that I tend to feel. Unfortunately, I still like at one point I thought I got class. I still feel shaky on that. So I need to revisit that again with a more fresh mind. But the aspects have been like revelatory.
I like aspect the best, then Lunar Sway, and then class is just like, I go back to the thing that I said of, there's 12 classes, but actually there's 14, but actually there's infinite.
Sure. Yes.
because it's just different
interactions with the aspect, kind of.
Right.
Yeah, they're just archetypes of your orientation towards your aspect. You can make up archetypes.
Right, but I can also make up concept patterns.
Right.
Yeah. I would say I do think aspect is the most like stable.
Mm-hmm.
Seems.
And it seems like it tells you the most.
Yeah. It has the most like analytical power, I think.
It's the most flavorful in some way because it's themes. It's intrinsically themes. That makes it very easy to speak about in words.
It's more accessible and parsable.
Yeah, but if I look at people and go like, oh, this guy, this gal, this person is me-shaped in some way, goes about things in a certain manner, I do think classes are valuable. And again, like there are fuzzy edges, and we can certainly draw different patterns of behavior in the same way that we can draw different concept clusters. That still doesn't feel exclusive to classes to me, but maybe you're like less convinced by the classes being particularly good collections of attributes than by the aspects being particularly good collections of concepts.
Mm-hmm.
I can certainly more easily see a seer and like, oh yeah, I'm this person. I know how to engage with them. They're like in some pretty fundamental way a process that looks similar to mine. Whereas like the topics, sure, the things I can talk about with people, and I can see how deep they have dug their well, how they're framing things internally, etc. But I guess it's the stepping out of things where it's easy to step out of concepts and look at them from the top with still a skewed filter, but have some impressions of it rather than the pulled back process, which generates intuitions, which generates way of talking about this, and which generates this sort of pulling back and trying to analyze it as a framework.
Mm-hmm. Overall, I think this has been a very valuable exercise.
Hell yeah.
Gotten a lot out of this.
Yeah. As someone who still barely knows anything about Homestuck, I get why this is a lasting legacy, lasting like thought exercise.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think it's really useful, even if it's not entirely applicable to everything or to a lot of people. Like it does what any good like typing, like personality typing or like people typing thing does, where it forces you to like understand yourself.
Yeah, and I think part of what makes it very valuable is that it invents a fairly new set of symbols to think about things with.
Yeah.
That doesn't have a bunch of social coding, so it allows people to be much more sincere in their curiosity about analyzing themselves according to that kind of thing.
Yeah, put in different lights.
Yeah, because they don't have a ew, yucky introverts. People keep making fun of those on the television, so I don't possibly want to be one of them. Yeah, it allows you to come at the whole thing with fresh eyes.
Yeah, and I think that's why I find the aspects like so important and so mind-blowing, because of my associations that I came into aspects with, and then seeing different parts of of human nature, human condition, like explained in different ways, or like aspects that I've like already encountered and already had explained to me one way, I'm then seeing it told in another way. That has helped me reframe it and understand myself better.
Yeah. I'm so glad to hear that. And you don't even have to read a too long webcomic to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just listen to a sort of long podcast.
Yeah.
Oh, you can easily listen to this much more quickly than you could read Homestuck.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
All right. I definitely excised the parts of this that are the most useful to me. But the whole thing is good. Yeah. I approve of yet another thing from Homestuck.
Hell yeah.
We in these parts we have long used the like words for troll romance in casual conversation, even though none of us read the comic. That's a holdover from Arch 1 from forever ago, because a lot of people in Arch 1 were reading Homestuck because it was coming out at the time.
Yeah.
Remember when we thought this was going to be not only a short episode, but an episode in which we could get to talk about troll romance?
Yeah, or
I mean,
clown
it's
gender.
still shorter than the other ones. Yeah, we'll have to get to those next.
Oh boy.
Either next or a different time.
Troll romance is something you can do in one episode, I think.
Probably, yeah. I mean,
it's a simple 2-axis system.
Sure.
That's a great sign.
And as we know,
I'm excited.
As we all know,
I'm not even disagreeing. I do think that he can make troll romance pretty short, but I would find it more interesting to at that point just fucking do a romance episode and have that as a section of it.
As we all know, all 2-axis systems are the same.
False.
I guess we all don't know that.
What's your neurotype? I'm Moira Allegiance. Okay. Well, that's been us.
Yeah.
Do we have other closing thoughts? Do we have pitches and links we want to get to? I haven't done anything but this in a long time.
All right.
Buy my leather products.
Yeah.
Buy Tarbuck's leather products.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tarbuck's been working on leather stuff.
Yeah.
Well, where can they buy them?
You can buy my various leather products on Etsy. I make one of the things that I make that is really cool and good is cable keepers. A little strip of leather that has a snap on it that has like a slot in it that you put one end of a USB cord into the slot, and then it will that way the strap will hang on to your cord, and then when you coil up your charging cable, the snap holds it together in that coil instead of it sprawling all over the place and becoming a giant tangled mess. You can also use them for headphones, back when people had wired headphones. Or, whatever else you got, like an HDMI cable. Message me about that one, though. They're not sized for that.
As a very satisfied customer, I will say that they look a lot nicer than the plastic or the Velcro ones that you typically get in packs of 5-10.
Yeah, those Velcro ones are bullshit. And they don't even work.
Oh, I mean, I have a bunch of them around my computer, but I am using 40.
Yeah. At some point, I'm going to stop making these by hand and have a die cutter made for it, so I can just put that down on some leather and hit it with a hammer a couple of times, and then I just have to set the hardware and it'll be fine. Prior to that point, I'm still doing it all by hand. So if you wanted me to make 40 of them, it would take me a minute.
Yeah. I mean, the issue is that I have a height adjustable desk, so I basically am using a bunch of them to have a tube around my cable so that they don't get tangled in the up and down motion. And rip and pull themselves apart.
Yeah. I think this could work for that, but also, it sounds like you have this problem largely solved, so don't worry about it.
My cable sorting is fine. Still, my Tarbuck's product, it probably looks a lot nicer.
Yeah.
I just have the luxury of not needing to look beneath my desk. For visually accessible environments, I'd certainly want some neat leather cable keepers, which apparently you can buy for money.
Yes.
You'll have to find out.
I accept other things as well, but message me about that.
Slide into my DMs and find out.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Slide in and find out. I've been urcoy, and since the last episode, I've actually gotten a different domain name.
Hell yeah.
I've uranium.cafe now, so that's much easier to remember and say, and is way cooler.
Yes,
right on.
it is. The cult is growing. I love
it. the dot cafe cult. Yeah, but you can go there for most things. Yeah, check it out.
I have been Oro. I write Ouroborista.cafe, which is a website on which there are articles and short stories and occasional drawings. I just drew an Ianthe Tridentarius from the Locked Tomb, and that was one of my better pieces so far. I also drew a comic that is now part of the Impression.zone zine, which you should possibly look at. And yeah, mainly I am a person who writes things. Oh, I wrote a video game since last time. It's called Exorcist Tipline with my friend Distracted MOSFET, who actually did most of the actual game dev on it. It's fun. People have been finding it too hard, which I hear gamers like. They like it when things are excruciatingly hard and not actually playable. So
that's what I've heard.
You enjoy this. Surely you enjoy your slop. No, but it's good. It's good. It's fun. You get to be an exorcist solving mysteries in a world in which the paranormal is the way AIDS was during the AIDS crisis, which is everyone knows someone who has it, but no one wants to talk about it because it makes them think that they are dirty or morally wicked somehow. So it's really hard to solve people's problems when they refuse to acknowledge that they have them.
And then they die of AIDS.
Yes. Or by being haunted. Which, no, they're definitely not haunted. They're not one of those people.
No, I don't even know anyone
I
like
also, in that time, made a video essay about the Magnus Archives, right? That's what the show is called. I do things is the point I am making. And you can pay me to do things, and you can do things with me. And I am such a very accommodating critter. End of statement.
Is it not true that you will do anything for money for different amounts of money?
I will do anything for money.
Right on.
Or other services. If you reform the political order to something more sensible, I'll probably render services for you in exchange for that. That's a pretty good thing to have done.
Yeah.
I will reward you for being a good person, basically. And you can be a good person by giving me money.
That is one of the judges of that.
I have been not a vampire. I've not done anything in recent time. Hopefully this year that this podcast comes out, I at some point will release a couple of passion project videos and maybe start writing yet another novel that I've dropped my other 2 novels to write instead.
I see. I didn't know about that.
Yeah. The eternal, like, okay, I don't feel excited about this project anymore. I'm going to go do something else, and then maybe I'll come back to the other one.
We should do a writer's pact. I also have 2 novels that I'm writing.
Yes, I still want to at some point attempt the, like, write a novel in, like, a day or, like, a week or something. Like, sometimes, like, just holding a gun to your own head and forcing you to do something it actually works.
Oh, yeah.
I don't have anyone to report to about my own creative endeavors, and so why would I do them? I've already thought them out in my head. I love the vision I have in my head, and that's good enough for me, I guess.
I would love to have the vision in your head. Please write a book.
Yes, I agreed. And before anyone gets the wrong ideas, also don't have like writers' clubs where you just talk about your ideas incessantly, because that will give you even more reason to not feel like you need to do them, because now you already got them out in a form that is less artistically valuable. Instead, when someone tries to talk to you about their book, you should go, no, shut the fuck up, write the thing, and then give me the chapter, you dumb loser.
The worst thing you could do for your creative friends is give them the dopamine release, the satisfaction of them expressing their creative ideas. Do not do that. That is harmful, because then it's basically the same as pursuing the creative endeavors.
They are very finicky houseplants. You cannot give them satisfaction. You should be relentlessly bullying them about, hey, how's the thing going? Hey, how's the thing going? No, don't want to hear about it. You haven't actually given me a reason to care.
Don't put them in the window, put them in the closet.
What we're saying is that writing is like gooning.
Apparently some of us are saying this. People are saying this.
Some of us are saying
a lot of things.
Okay, did I get that right? Do I understand what gooning is?
I think
gooning is when you're part of the mob, I infer.
I'm a goonie, if that helps.
When you're like a goon, when you're a mook, and you're hired help to the big boss man.
I think I know what you mean.
I was making a joke, but are you being serious right now, Oro?
No. Hey, I've been on the internet.
Yeah, we are out of the serious time.
Okay.
I think, well, I mean, we are serious about do not give your creative friends the satisfaction of them being just expressing their thoughts. But I think I don't know specifically what it means. I've only like vibed it, and my vibe of what it means matches what I think
I
you're saying.
take that Tarbuck is making a joke about edging. Like, don't give them release. Make them,
Yeah.
I'm talking about delayed orgasm to intensify the orgasm.
You know, in proper, like, polite circles, we call this delayed gratification.
Uh-huh.
Well, in proper polite circles, we don't talk about our orgasms that much.
Right.
No.
According to legend, if you like edge for a really long time to the point where you dissociate, it's like way better. But I say don't dissociate. That's probably bad for you.
Probably.
Yeah, just do drugs about that like a normal person.
Yeah.
A friend of mine got a prescription for ketamine and is like really raving about it.
Yeah. It's many people. Are you doing a pun?
Don't do the bad drugs. Do the good drugs.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
ketamine is at least interesting. I wouldn't want to do it a lot, but it's like an interesting qualia. Weed was not even interesting the first time.
A choice quote was that that they gave me was, if regular sober life was like this, I wouldn't be an antinatalist anymore.
I will see.
What an evocative thing to say.
Yeah.
Give children ketamine. You've heard it here first, folks.
Is that the takeaway for this episode?
Apparently.
That's what all of it has been building up to, hasn't it?
I can't endorse this without having done it, and I don't have plans for that in the near future because dissociation is generally bad, and I would need to do more research to even, like, get to the onboard for that. Also, I don't think they sell it anymore.
I don't know. Hey, if you're in Europe, I still have some.
Oh, cool.
But, I don't know, my experience from it was that I didn't get the dissociation bit, which is the main thing it is a drug for.
Oh, I
just got all the other effects. And me and the person who gave it to me's takeaway from this was, oh, that's because you're already maximally dissociated at all points.
Oh, no.
That would explain your executive function, according to these other reports.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can just be, oh, here is a set of limbs. I can point them at things, and then they do this. Like, yes, no, I agree that I certainly have a much more external view of myself as just an object in the world that my brain gets to manipulate than most people do.
One of the things she said to me about it was that it is, when you're on it, it is harder to not do something you want to do than it is to do it.
Yeah. And,
Now, if I could just have that in a bottle.
You can, by prescription. Go to a doctor. There's at least 2 drugs that are like this. Ketamine and Adderall for the people playing along at home. Although I think Adderall is, like, bad for your brain also. I think what I heard is that... Why is this the drug podcast now?
But, yeah, wait a minute. We were trying to sign off. We're doing the Midwestern goodbye thing.
What I heard was that you want regular amphetamines more than you want Adderall. In terms of, like, your ability to do them for a long term without burning your brain into a cinder.
I thought Ritalin was the one that isn't an amphetamine. I forget the brand names.
Yeah, whatever. I'm not really very drugs. Don't do drugs, kids.
Yeah, no, Adderall is definitely an amphetamine.
I feel like we're just confusing people at this point.
Do drugs with doctor supervision?
Yes. As we were saying, do drugs, be gay, do crime, kids. Have a good one.
That's the moral of this whole podcast.
See you next time when we maybe talk about Linux or my year in review list or something.
It's year in review. You sure slurred that to sound like you're in review.
Year in review.
Yuri review?
I won't be on that one.
Next time on Taste Test.
On Taste Test, yeah.
Hey, Tarbuck, how about those Taste Test episodes?
Yeah, Tarbuck, where's the fucking Taste Test on Ducati?
Let's
Still
see.
don't have the video file.
Okay, tell you what. I'll get at least one of those episodes out before this episode comes out.
I bet.
I'll use it to test the Linux video editor.
Gotcha.
Bet.
Literally a bet.
I'll race you to it.
Right, yeah. Forget all the drug stuff. The rest of the story is use OpenShot.
That's what they keep telling me. Hey kid, you want some open shot? All right, I'm hitting stop.